The Biden administration has introduced a new series of sanctions against Tehran in an effort to curtail Iranian oil from reaching energy-hungry world markets.
So long as Iran refuses a mutual return to the full implementation of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the United States will continue to enforce its sanctions on the sale of Iranian petroleum and petrochemical products.
The U.S. Treasury Department is targeting several firms and what they call front companies for their involvement in Iran's petrochemical trade. The sanctions will affect the sale of hundreds of millions of dollars worth of products bound for South and East Asia. The move targeted Iranian brokers and enterprises in China, the United Arab Emirates, Hong Kong, and India. Well, American political figures have previously bragged about another impact of their crippling sanctions against Tehran, the worsening of living standards among the Iranian people, including a few years ago by Donald Trump's personal attorney.
So I say to the Iranian government, you must be truly afraid of being overthrown. The sanctions are working. The currency is going to nothing. They're where Russia was. They're where Poland was. We see signs of young men and women saying, give me some food. We saw a sign of a man trying to sell his internal organs for $500 American, probably a fortune in Iran today.
Yeah, earlier we discussed the issue with political analysts and academics from China and Iran. They both say that countries under U.S. sanctions are becoming increasingly unafraid of Washington's threats as they can still manage to develop international trade.
Well, I don't think they can have so many damage to the China-Iran relations because this everything according to the international law and commercial principles. So the U.S. sanctions actually based on the U.S. domestic law. We don't afraid of the American sanctions as this is illegal. American sanctions always abuse the American power, that the American exceptionalism and they enforce other countries to bypass the U.S. system. For instance, before the sanctions to Iran, which China and the EU all built the bypass of the SWIFT system. Now the sanctions to Russia has also push forward that kind of de-Americanization of the order. Well, Iran, firstly, is an Asian civilization, and geographically also is a key country, actually. We have the 6 economic corridors. One of them is China, Central Asia, and Western Asia economic corridor, which Iran, Afghanistan, and then connect with China. And also Iran is a leading country, particularly in the shared Muslim world.
The Iranians are getting used to the sanctions. The Iranians are pursuing new relationships with the global South. Europe and the United States are facing multiple crises, political, military, and economic problems. And there's no shortage of customers for Iranian oil, especially under these circumstances. By sanctioning Iran, by sanctioning Russia, by sanctioning parts of the Chinese economy, they are simply creating an incentive for these countries to move away from the U.S. and European, U.S. basically controlled financial institutions, and therefore enabling these countries not only to work with each other without the U.S. dollar, without using Western banks, but it also enables other countries that are under sanctions or Western sanctions to more easily work with one another. And this is an irreversible trend.